Hey, Wayne.
Hey, Tim.
What you playing?
Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
So,
Something bad.
terrible grammar aside, how is the game?
It's I like. Oh man, you can see that I'm like totally have to like relearn the controls because I actually hadn't played it in a couple of weeks, thanks to other games. But the controls are good. I mean, this is a game that's being developed by Platinum Games, the same guys that made Bayonetta. So they know their third-person action fighting games, and yeah, I mean, basically what we've got here is this is what happens when you take it's like Raiden and strip him of the turning into like hairy, naked, magical chick and just let him slice other cybernetic ninjas up.
And he definitely does do that.
He does do that. I mean, it's kind of sad because when you saw the initial demos that Kojima was showing off for this game way back when, they made a huge deal about the whole being able to slice everything, but it's not quite as prominent as what you get in the final game, which definitely feels more like Bayonetta than it it's like does Watermelon Slicing Simulator.
Yeah. Well, you did slice up that tree pretty good.
Yeah, some things will slice. Other things like stairs and cats will not slice.
No cat.
No, well, look, that's the thing. There are cats in here. It's just that if you attempt to slice them, they backflip out of the way.
Oh.
You cannot slice the cats.
Lousy,
because,
tricky cats.
Yeah, but, Kojima likes cats, I guess. So.
What about the car? Can you slice the car in half?
Yeah, okay, we can try doing. Whoa, yeah. Should be able to do that once I clear these guys out. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that worked.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you slice the car in half. All right. So, yeah, there's tons of stuff you can slice. But how is it for slicing up bad guys? Like, do you find the combat, like, is it intuitive, or does it take a decent amount of practice to get it going right?
Well, it's a Japanese action game, which means that you're probably going to want to practice at it. It's like, okay, we're just going to have to pause here because I'm one of those inverter guys. So the fact that the camera is not horizontally or vertically inverted is messing me up. I gotta go and change that. There we go. So confirm. Hooray. So yes,
at least they give you the option. Sometimes they lock you in.
Yeah, for you gamers out there, yes, I'm one of those people. I'm an inverter. So one of those dirty, nasty inverters.
So this is obviously a departure from what we traditionally know Metal Gear games to be, because there's no stealth.
Yeah, this is a radical departure. I mean, it's like, yeah, stealth doesn't come into it. The only thing that hasn't changed is that you still got the crazy, gigantic, elaborate cutscenes like what we're seeing here with it's like guys slicing people up. We'll just skip that and get right back into the fighting. It's not actually designed by Kojima. Oh, hey, it's Metal Gear Ray.
Hey, Ray.
How are you doing?
I remember you.
Yeah.
So it definitely takes place in the same universe, obviously.
It is supposed to be a direct continuation of the Metal Gear series. It's just that it's like Snake is not mentioned. This is Raiden's show from start to finish. And there we go. Oh, one of these super elaborate cutscenes where you just start hacking and slashing and hacking and slashing into a million bazillion itty bitty pieces.
Yeah, and see, you and I are two of the weirdos out there that actually like QuickTime events. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, that one is a pseudo QuickTime event. I mean,
Yeah.
they're still doing a lot of stuff, but I mean, yeah, there are also like traditional QuickTime events in here. So yeah, the guys that don't like that, I would say it's not that big a deal. It's not, it's like that prominent. It just pops up once in a while, usually towards the end of elaborate boss fights like this. And it's like for like everybody else, it's like there's a heavy amount of interactivity. I mean, like that is actually me slicing and dicing all this stuff there. So.
Dynamically too.
Yeah. Because you're riding to Cybernetic Ninja, and that's what Cybernetic Ninjas do.
Now, without spoiling anything for anybody who is into the story, how is the story in compared to what we've come to know from the Metal Gear series?
It's not as elaborate. I mean, they did try to make it a little bit more accessible, but Kojima did still have a supervising role in this game, which means that they explore themes of it's like war, and in this particular case, the big idea that Kojima is exploring is memes. This is all about the memes. Yeah, when you get into the codec conversations with people, it's like meme this and meme that, and it's
there's a lot of cats.
Yeah, well, yeah, not lolcats, but it's more like just the basic idea of the meme as an idea that's transmitted if it proves to be useful in some capacity. So, I guess you could say the basic moral of this story is Kojima is telling people, let's ignore the bad memes and just concentrate on trying to spread the positive good memes so that we'll have a happy place. Or something to that effect. It's like, oh, okay.
And remember those QuickTime events?
Yeah, there they go. I'll just keep slicing away. It's like, okay, Raiden is flipping Metal Gear Ray single-handedly because that's just how awesome he is in this game.
Yeah,
I don't care what anybody says, these cutscenes are totally amazing. They remind me of Asura, which I was also a big fan of. I know that other people didn't care much for that game, but I would still recommend everybody at least watch that game. This is another one of those games that's kind of worth watching.
Just in the spectacle
yeah,
alone.
for the average spectator, just seeing Raiden run around doing, hey, and I got an S rank.
Look at that, no damage.
Yeah.
It's like you've played this before.
Yeah, it's almost like I've played this before and written a review for. Oh, wait a minute, I have. Okay, so yeah, that might be the explanation for that.
Yeah.
But and now I'm lost. No, wait, no, I'm not. I remember where I'm supposed to be going now. Is this going to be another one of those like long talky segments? They do that irritating thing that some games try to do where they hide the loading by having Raiden walking very slowly while talking to somebody.
Oh yeah.
And you can't actually, it's like go anywhere in that time. You just have to listen while the game, quote unquote, discreetly loads up the next area. You also see that Raiden can really just run like a son of a bitch. It's like his agility is just crazy. This is literally called Ninja Run.
Yeah.
That's the move.
And yeah, it is really quick.
Yeah.
Now, is there any relationship between this and Vanquish,
Other
other than being similar?
Some of the techniques from Vanquish, because that was also about like high mobility for an armored dude.
Yeah.
And it was also developed by Platinum Games. So
Oh,
it's like,
okay.
so yeah, you can see that it's like a bit of that tech. I mean, this really is kind of a hybrid of Vanquish and Bayonetta. The combat itself feels like Bayonetta, but the mobility definitely shows that Vanquish flavor. So. And Metal Gear Ray is building up for something. Can I dodge this? No, I can't.
So you would say that the gameplay is reminiscent of Vanquish and Bayonetta, and but obviously the story is Metal Gear.
No, the story is pure Kojima. It's it is by turns like almost relentlessly profound with Kojima. It's like hammering you over the head with the ideas that he's trying to communicate. And at other times it just gets like weird in a silly Japanese sort of way that only the Japanese can do. One of my favorite moments later on in the game, I don't think that we'll be able to see it here, is when Raiden decides that he needs to do some work in Mexico. So does the only thing that a cybernetic ninja can do, he disguises himself in a sombrero.
The infamous sombrero.
And it's like it just wanders around in the streets of Guadalajara. It's like, yep, just your average cybernetic Mexican. that's just what I'm doing here. It's like I'm just like you guys. I just happen to be a kick-ass cyborg with a high-frequency vibrating sword. But other than that, it's like I'm a muchacho. It's just like you guys. So.
Oh man,
Metal Gear Ray, how the mighty have fallen. You're not doing so good. Or maybe it's just because of the fact that you're fighting a cybernetic ninja.
I don't know. The last time I took on Metal Gear Rays as Raiden, I did not nearly fare so well as
yeah,
you are
I mean,
right
it's
now.
like it's one of those things. The odd thing about this game is that it's like look at this. This is like one of the first bosses in the game, and this was actually like the final boss of Metal Gear 2. So this boss obviously gave Snake a ton of trouble, but it's like Raiden is literally just like cutting his way through this. Yeah. He's just hacking bits and pieces off, and it's actually going very well for him. So the Metal Gear Ray is just not giving Raiden the run for his money that he gave Snake, which kind of makes you wonder. It's like maybe we should have just made Raiden a cyborg at the start of Metal Gear 2,
and then people wouldn't
we could
complain
have just
so much.
called it a day. It's like yeah, Raiden would have just showed up on like what was the name of the tanker again? Big something.
Big Shell.
Big Shell. Oh, look at it. He's running on missiles. Is that not the most amazing thing you've ever seen?
That's so ninja.
Raiden is running on missiles so that he can kick more ass against Metal Gear Ray.
Yeah!
That is just, look at this. Like, how can you not just appreciate the amazing ludicrousness?
The spectacle of it is what I enjoy.
He's cutting stuff left, right, and center. It's amazing. And Ray is down.
And he
for the
doesn't
count.
look. Of course,
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
look
it's
out.
like, yeah, the no-look destruct. No, wait, it's not quite done. There's still a little bit more to go, but it's like it's going to be finished off in a particularly badass way. Oh, I love this moment as well. You'd think that everything.
Oh,
would
good.
be
At least
all,
there's a checkpoint.
Yeah, it's all done for Raiden, but wait, no, he's going to just run down the wall while dodging missiles at the same time. Or he would if I hadn't just.
If you hadn't jumped on, tried to make it
if
with
I hadn't
that
just
missile.
run directly into that missile, I got confident. I thought I could cut it. I was wrong.
You're playing it wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I was playing it wrong. there is a time to cut and there is a time to dodge, and that was definitely one of those times to dodge.
So now, so if you're a fan of these big spectacle boss fights and stuff, there's obviously value here. But do you think that non-Metal Gear fans will find something to appreciate about this game?
Non-Metal Gear fans will appreciate it if they like a good action game. I know that I'm not necessarily in the majority on this, but I did feel that, for me anyway, this game delivered where the latest Devil May Cry did not. Because I found the combat in that game to be very streamlined and a bit dumbed down.
Right.
Where it's just you just cut it in and out, no-look explosion. You know, it's like you've got to have the no-look explosion.
There's something delightful about that.
Would have been an S rank if I just hadn't taken that missile to the face, but it's like, oh well, these things happen. Metal Gear.
And then back to another arduous cutscene.
And then another arduous cutscene. It's like this time with cyborgs and African leaders, and it's like, oh my God, what's going on? I've seen this before, so I don't care. We'll just skip right past it. It's like all you need to know is that now Raiden is fighting on a train. So
that's all you need to know.
Raiden is fighting on a train somewhere behind me. Nathan Drake is slowly making his way along. But obviously he does not have ninja run, and the dude's got to take cover because he's not a real cybernetic ninja.
He's also got like thousands more guys to deal with.
He doesn't have real ultimate ninja power the way Raiden does. It's like obviously he needs to look up Robert Hamburger's website more often. But it's like this guy. It's like, okay, so basically, short story here. African leader. He was bringing peace to the country, and now these evil bad cybernetic ninjas are about to put a stop to that. They kill him, and it's like Raiden is really pissed about that. Now, time for Cybernetic Ninja Showdown. The only problem is that this is not going to go well for Raiden. It just isn't, because this ninja here is a badass. So no matter what you do, this is one of those fights that you actually just can't win. So you kind of just have to suck it up and take your suffering like a man. Or a cybernetic ninja. Since you're not really a man anymore, you're a cybernetic ninja, are you? It's like, just how much of a man is left in there? Only Raiden knows for sure.
Yes, and for quite more answers to questions like that, play Deus Ex.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for the really deep philosophical answers, as opposed to the cheeky Kojima answers.
Your technique lacks something.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so incredibly
basically that's what's going on here, is that this ninja sort of knows his true combat heart, but apparently Raiden has yet to discover his. And so that's why his, in the immortal words of pretty much every kung fu movie from the 70s, your kung fu is not strong.
And he is doomed to fail.
He is doomed to fail because he hasn't found his true fighting heart. And, he's fighting against a cybernetic ninja that has. So, as we all know from almost every martial arts movie, this will not end well. And it's not ending well. Look at this. This guy's totally kicking my ass. Oh, here we go. This is not going to go well. See, you're denying your weapon its purpose, Raiden. That's like basic Samurai 101. You must have been asleep during that class. And there we go. It's like, no, look at that. He just got his eye sliced. It's like, so he's doing the Cyclops thing now. All right, now he's once again getting the Kojima lecture about the true fighting heart thing. And now there, my sword is a tool of justice. That can be read wrong so many ways. I could be here all day talking about that, but we're not going to.
You don't think Kojima is going for with some high metaphor there?
Well, see, that's the thing with Kojima. It's like he is going for high metaphor, but he's not above also going for the low metaphor at the same time. So it's jam-packed with profound and lewd insight. That's all I'm going to say, because this is Kojima that we're talking about. So it's like I know that I should be skipping past this cutscene, but it's just so awesome, and I also still belong to that camp that was really disappointed with Raiden being introduced in Metal Gear 2. So I kind of like to see Raiden get punished, and his arm just got sliced off. And this is why I wanted this cutscene. Yeah, so he's got one eye, and he just got his arm sliced off. Now I will skip this cutscene because you know what? Despite all that, the dude is still trying to fight. Look at that.
One arm.
Yeah, so it's even though he doesn't got the fighting spirit, he's got heart.
He's got guts.
Yeah, he's got guts, which
maybe spilled.
Jetstream Sam has pretty much spilled all over the top of the train. I wish that we could just cut to the camera so that we could see how far Nathan Drake has kind of climbed around, because it's I almost forgot about him. He's still back there. So
no, I don't know.
His breakdancing pirates or whatever.
This can't be Nathan Drake because the train isn't wrecked yet.
Oh yeah, that's
Nathan Drake wrecks trains.
That's true. Eventually, the train does get wrecked. I mean, people start launching rockets at it and stuff like that. I assume at that point when the train gets derailed, that's probably where they cut to Nathan Drake waking up, and it's sitting in the train and having to climb his way up. So, we could actually be looking at the beginning to Uncharted 2 right now. It's like, so that's how Nathan Drake ended up on that train.
Yeah, there was this crazy Cyborg Ninja fight.
And then
that's
after
that's
that,
how the train went off.
just
for us.
another gigantic cutscene where they explain that, Raiden's gotten rebuilt and
So he's now $1 Million Man.
Yeah, now he's like, well, he was probably $1 Million Man before, maybe even $6 Million Man before, so he's probably like $38 Million Man now.
Something like that.
Which, for all you trivia buffs out there, is approximately how much Aliens would cost if it were produced today in adjusted 2013 dollars. I just thought I'd throw that in.
All right.
So anyway,
so that's...
They won't let me skip it. But I reviewed the game. I liked it. It's like I think that it's a worthwhile purchase. The only caveat that I would give to people is that it's not a terribly long game. A real veteran of action games can probably finish this in 6 hours or less.
Oh wow, that's pretty short.
Average gamers, though, it will probably take between 6 and 8, depending on how much practice you need. And this being a typical Japanese action game with about the same amount of difficulty that you'd expect from most Japanese action games, it's got its difficulty spikes. I can see the average gamer getting stuck here and there. But it's like for veterans, you will enjoy it. It's like, was that another S rank? Oh my God, it was another S rank. There you go.
Speaking of veterans,
yeah. Well, like I said, it's like somebody has reviewed and played this game before. It's amazing.
All right, so that's Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
That is Metal Gear Rising Revengeance by Platinum Games with that undeniable Kojima touch.
Available on the PS3 and Xbox 360. And look for Wayne's full review of Metal Gear Rising Revengeance on CGMagazine.ca and in the next issue of Comics and Gaming Magazine.
All right, see you later, folks.